Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Badass Bodyworkers. And today's topic is super exciting because it needs a huge refresher, not just for myself, but just in this post-COVID world. We've been going through a lot, to say the least. And my friend, my fellow Louisianian, Kim, is here to break a lot of that down. We're going to be diving into money mindset. We're going to be diving into a lot of topics today surrounding this belief. And honestly, I've kind of been avoiding talking about it for a while myself because I have been through such huge transitions in my life over the past 2 or 3 years. So I've been really quiet online, and that is kind of what built the group to start with. I was talking about money mindset and how to value yourself, and how to find your worth, and how our beliefs and our emotions are stored in our bodies and how that affects us on a daily basis. And I have these conversations a lot behind the scenes with my colleagues, and I wanted to bring Kim on the show to talk about all of this. She is an incredible educator, a friend, a colleague, massage therapist, a mind body coach. She is going to tell you all about her very unique and multi-passionate skill set. So Kim, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being on and honestly helping me get out of my comfort zone a little bit too through my own life transitions. And y'all, she just called me out before we hit record, and I'm like, I know that these I know that these are my like bad characteristics that I need to work on. Thank you for helping reflect those back to me, because it does affect me, on a daily basis. And massage therapists, we want to help them rise and come into their full potential and just stop operating from a place of scarcity. So yeah, tell us how to do all that.
Thanks
Tell
for
us the
having
magic.
me. So, first of all, you just said a great word and it was rise. And that's what this podcast is all about. This particular show is the uprise of the massage therapist, of the massage therapy industry, and how we have so much opportunity right now. As you said, at the beginning of the show about COVID, and we are living with the after effects. And so all of this unresolved trauma hit the surface during that time. Everyone's fears and concerns and considerations, everything came to the surface. Well, guys, you know what happens. We know what happens. When that stuff comes to the surface is the body. The surface is the physical body. So now think about the opportunity of every human impacted and affected. Everyone, even the little ones who were born in that time, received that from utero. We know how this works. We are the ones to make the change. I truly believe that this is our time, the thing that you've been waiting for, the opportunity, the potential that's inside of our hands and our heads, and how we can educate and get people to truly understand what's going on in their body is a mirror. It's a physical manifestation of their mental and emotional self. And that's what I do as a mind body coach. But first and foremost, my passion came from healing myself of physical conditions, because there was a time I didn't know this. So I know some of you who are listening don't know this to the degree that we now know it. 30 years ago, I was listening to this because I was the victim. I was the victim of medication, over medication, I'd say, over diagnosis, surgeries, like over a dozen surgeries, over a dozen diagnoses, and medication for 24 years. And what they didn't get, you know how your clients will say this? They can't find anything wrong. Right? They couldn't find anything wrong. So I just kept getting more and more medication, more and more surgeries. The problem was emotional. The problem could have been solved with understanding. The problem could have been solved with awareness. And I believe as massage therapists, we have that opportunity. You guys do not want to be doing dollar for hour for the rest of your life. You're already feeling it. If you're 10 years into the industry, you're already seeing this, and you're feeling this endless cycle, like of continuing to get new clients, continuing to get people in the door. Like there's not enough hours for the passion and contribution that you want to give to the world. There's just not enough hours to do that in physical form. So what we've done is created a way for you to do it online and to help your client, almost said patient, to help your client in different ways. So that's we're going to dive into some of this, but what we're going to talk about today is 5 ways to rise up as a massage therapist, to win in the industry, to win as the practitioner. You do not have to give up your health and your relationships in order to have success in your business. And that's what today's show is about.
Yep. And before we start, I do want to tell everybody that where I am in my life right now, a few years ago when I started Badass Body Workers, my business was bringing in, you know, over six figures. I had several employees, and then, post-COVID, which that affected a lot of things for which we're going to dive into. I decided to transition into mobile. And then from there, I decided to move to Austin, Texas. It's my home base, and I have a wonderful job on the weekends as a W-2 employee of a high-end hotel spa, which is totally cute. I'm so happy there. The most amazing clients. And that leaves the rest of the week for me to do whatever the hell I want to do, whether it's private clients, whether it's working on Badass Body Workers, whether it's taking classes. And it's just been so fulfilling, like how I feel in my body coming home, not feeling stressed. I can wake up earlier. I have much more energy. I am not trading as much time for dollars. I'm able to work on things that is going to provide me a reoccurring income. And, I find myself either telling a client this or writing online at least 3 or 4 times a week, going back to the emotional aspect of things and how we harbor in our body. No amount of deep pressure is going to get rid of the deep rooted resentment you have towards your family or
Yeah.
towards XYZ. And we as massage therapists, we're going to dive into the education part as well. We have to have a skill set to be able to portray the benefits of massage and wellness to our clients without them helicoptering us, without them um like we need to give ourselves the opportunity as well to introduce people to new things because we only know what we're exposed to. And some members of Badass Body Workers, massage therapists, estheticians, we haven't been exposed to money mindset. We haven't been exposed to letting go of, limiting beliefs and stuff. And we only know what we're exposed to. So we're going to dive in. It's going to be pretty heavy hitting. Of course, you can comment down in the podcast as well if you have any questions or message either Kim or I, and we can, talk to you privately as well. Or Kim can. I don't do coaching, but Kim is amazing. So if any of these resonate with you that we're about to dive into, please reach out to her. We're going to have everything in the comments below, but we're super excited to dive in, Kim. So I'm going to let you take the reign
Cool.
on
And make
this.
sure to tell me, Rebecca, you heard it on the podcast or Rebecca sent me so that I can relate immediately to this topic. Because there are other things that I do, and this just keeps it super clean. So I would love for you to add that whenever you reach out. So we're going to talk about 5 ways that the massage therapist can rise this year in 2025. So I'll just mention what it is, and then Rebecca and I will kind of talk about it back and forth, and then we'll move to the next. We are minding the time, so we don't want to keep you here all day, although we could. So the first one is you have to be known for something. You, as a massage therapist, as a body worker, as a practitioner, have to be known for something. Rebecca's known for the Badass Body Workers group.
And
She's known for, right? What's that?
fire cupping as well.
Okay, yeah. What else? For like uprooting Louisiana and moving to Austin? That's bravery and courage and
School
growth.
bus, my little school bus journey.
Yeah.
Visibility is so incredibly important. And we see online every day, people are like, I want to market, but I'm introverted. I don't want to get out in the community. What do I do? And I'm like, I don't know, Facebook ads then. Like you have to, I'm sorry, but you have to get out in the community, especially post COVID. We want more in real life experiences. We can't just rely on the endless hamster wheel of the social media algorithm and relying on these third parties. We need to make ourselves visible and known for something.
You
And
have to be known for something. That's your brand, by the way. We do a lot of brand recognition and dialing in. This gets you pre-sold clients. You guys who don't like to sell, your brand, your identity, your exposure, being known for something does that for you. Number two, I'm looking at the time and I'm like, we'll be able to get through all of
real
this.
quick, you're not selling though. You're providing a solution that people are already looking for.
Number, oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, you're just, people are always like, I don't want to sell retail. I don't want to seem pushy. And I'm like, it's not selling if they already want to buy. You're providing them a solution. It's your job to tell them what the solution is and what their end result is going to be. Otherwise, they're just going to stand there with crickets. You can make yourself visible too, and then not have a call to action. And I see that a lot online, like, Well, what do you want people to do, to book with you, to comment on something, to share? Like you have to tell people what to do.
Yeah,
Oh,
agreed. I love selling, by the way. Love, and I love teaching practitioners how to sell in a way that's not sleazy and yucky.
next
So
class.
number two, you have to have your belief in check. So for me, the easy hack around this is knowing what your driver is. Like, why are you doing this? Like, if you really got to the part of you that's like, I'm here to help and serve, my world is a better place whenever those around me are happier and healthier. Like, if you're super clear on that, it's going to soar your belief. Like, if you believe in what drives you, in what pulls you forward, I call this a summoning. Guys, we did not just like, we were not born like, I'm going to be a massage therapist. I remember the moment where I knew I loved touching and connecting. I was 9 years old, and I there was a bottle of Avon lotion, and I was rubbing someone's feet, and oh my God, I felt so happy. Is that crazy? But I remember that moment of what it felt like to be relevant, what it felt like to contribute, what it felt like, how good I felt when someone else felt good. So, did I know I was going to be a massage therapist? No, absolutely not. But the connection, I'll never forget the connection. So I do believe massage therapists are called. I do believe there's something, like if you really think about it, we are more up in their business than even surgeons and doctors. Like even a surgeon will map out the rest of the body and only go in for one area. But we have access to their entire state of being. That's what I mean by the uprise of the massage therapy industry. When we put ourselves in the place that we truly are in and the impact that we can make,
Yes.
the lives that it impacts, all the way down to their children and generations. Because when we're moving this through the body, they are releasing the tension, stress, and trauma. And when we break those cycles, it's broken for good.
Yes. You know, Kim, whenever I was younger, a kid, my mom used to take me to work with her, and I lived in the country. She was a home health nurse, and she, saw a lot of geriatrics and hospice. And I used to go over there and like, hold their hand or like, scratch their head. And my mom said their blood pressure would always be lower whenever I went. I didn't know what
Mm.
that meant. I was a kid, and we had these little inklings, even back from peeling back the onion layers back from childhood, and in the future, I see my career going body work wise towards hospice and death doula type stuff, as far as my hands-on work that I would like to do in the future. And it came around full circle, seeing that whenever I was first kind of introduced to that aha moment, going to work with my mom, working with the elderly, that's kind of how I started, I guess, those inklings in my career. Now I want to kind of end that cycle through helping that same thing with the herbalism that I'm interested in. I wanted to do that before massage, and now I have this, I have three businesses, y'all. I started a tea company called Mystic Leaf Tea, and it's awesome. I'm super excited. It is in the incubation stage, the training for the 10K stage at Badass Bodyworkers, which everyone knows. And then I have Nomadic Bodyworks, which is my private practice. And going back to what Kim said, those common threads of all that I do, all are community. Like my values are community, freedom, creativity, a couple other things as well, but they all have that common thread. So no matter how multi-passionate I am, no matter how often I want to work seasonally and do different things and have different offerings, they always have that common thread. Always, always, always. And that is so incredibly important to me, no matter what I do. So it is important to make sure that you know what your values are and your core beliefs that are associated with those values too. And I find myself making much better decisions and having better discernment and seeing through my own lens, as we were talking about earlier, Kim. Certain people are able to see through multiple perspectives at once. And sometimes I see through so many perspectives, I lose sight and clarity of what mine is.
Yeah,
And this is part of what Kim does too, is like help you hone into like who you really are and how you feel in your body. And even right now, I feel so excited now that I mentioned my tea business and not trading time for dollars. Like I feel so excited right now talking about it. It's just, it fuels you. I don't feel burnout anymore. Of course, I'm going to achieve my goals faster. I'm
that's
excited
the
about it.
belief. So the belief is not just recognizing where the limitations are. The belief is daily nurturing and massaging your own. Why do I do this every morning when I wake up? Why do I do this? Because we're constantly getting rejected, right? Every time someone cancels an appointment or doesn't rebook, or like there's so many walls and hurdles to jump through to stay in belief. But that's something no one can take away from you, is setting that in the morning before you talk to anyone. You reestablish that belief in yourself, and you understand that disbelief is going to be coming at you throughout the day, but you just stay between the railroad tracks because you know where you're going and you know why you're doing it. Number three, you need to be skilled. It is your responsibility to be educated. Instead of just taking some cheap online classes just to get that in, those CEUs are meant to grow you. Look a year ahead and decide, what do you want to do next year. We like I have, I think, 4 or 5 things. It's signature massage, grow your massage business, somatics, like things that I'm passionate about, that we have as opportunity of growth for massage therapists. Get in a room with someone who's excited and passionate. Find educators and teachers. Play around, find different ones. Get with your community and say, hey, where are you taking this year? Maybe we can do something together. I did a couple of reflexologies. I did Thai yoga massage. I've done, like, it's never been, oh, I'm just gonna, like, I just need the hours. It's something that's gonna ignite the belief and the passion. It's gonna grow your skill set, because when you are clear, confident, and competent, you are unstoppable. This is how you have a multi-6-figure massage therapy business. This is how you rise in the industry, by setting yourself apart, keeping your belief in check, and your skill set. Stay on top of it. There's always something new. There's always something new coming around. What are you passionate about? Bring that in and bring it in and bring it in. Everything that I look through, the lens that I look through, like Rebecca was talking about, is the mind body connection. What is happening? Why is our brain doing that? Why is our mind gathering evidence to work against us? How do we know? How can we read into our own body? Like, how can we stay plugged in to that seed of service that's planted inside of you? Because if you're a massage therapist, you for sure have it. Do you have
Yeah.
anything to say about skill set?
Yeah, whenever I was back in Louisiana, I flew to Colorado and took a cannabis massage course. The CEs were not approved in Louisiana, and I really didn't give a shit because I wanted to be the first therapist that, when and if, who knows, whole other podcast, it becomes legal. I wanted to be the first therapist to offer that because I knew I wanted that to be my niche in the future. I also specialize in fire cupping. I have my eyes on taking Ariel Atsu, which is the yoga hammock massage, basically. And I took zero gravity chair massage and emotional body mapping. Those are skills that I don't see advertised very often when it comes to the education world. Like, there's not many people that do a lot of that. I have a colleague that does suspension tie, and it's just absolutely incredible. There's so many different things that we can learn in person, and I'll dip my toes in. For example, like I was like, oh, am I actually interested in cranial or visceral? And I wasn't sure. And those classes
My
can
God,
cost like
love
well
that.
over $1,000. So did I go and buy a Udemy course to see if it was for me? Yeah. Because to me, paying, I don't know, 15 bucks to decide if I wanted to pay 1,500,
Yeah.
it helped me scratch that off my list. That's not something I want to do. But knowing what it is now and being more educated about that modality, I can then let clients know what it's about or refer a colleague who is interested. And
I think
sounds
that
like
leads
it.
into the number four. You're right. Like, so you like, oh, that sounds interesting. Let me go and look. Let me pay a few bucks and decide. And then it's okay to say no. I love that you eliminated.
Well, I did it with sound bowl therapy. I taught myself how to play sound bowls I took 4 or 5 online classes through Udemy, and they were actually really fantastic. But I had I already had the equipment with me. So I was learning a lot. And then I reached out to someone in Badass Bodyworkers who teaches like a full week-long immersive thing in Arizona. And my heart was like, yes, I
Yes.
have to do that. I have to do that because the way I've been taught with sound healing is a little intuitive, a little online, and a little to going to events and festivals and getting services by other people. And even though I know that I'm really talented with it and I have a very unique approach to it, I know that I need something more cohesive but it was nice to get an intro because this equipment, these sound bowls are not cheap. Well, the ones behind me in this video, these are actually you know, factory manufactured ones that are affordable, but yeah, they're not cheap. So before you invest in something, definitely research it because Kim, like you work with a lot of ADHD people and we have impulse control issues too. And I don't just want to like go off and like invest in something and then have a sunken cost and be like, well, shit, now I'm not going to take it or go to that class. And I tend, that's like one of my toxic traits, I guess, when it comes to money mindset stuff because of the FOMO. I don't want to miss out. So I'll buy a class if it's on sale or I'll sign up for a CE class and then I end up like overstretching myself. So touch
I do
base a little
something a
bit.
little different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go and get the service. And then I win on both ways. So I
Right.
go, yeah, I become the client. Like that's how I know if I'm going to like it or love it or like so while I'm experiencing, I'm an experiential learner though. I think that's also talks to how we're all different. So I tend to be more of like I like the visceral experience. I need the 360 perspective and I need to understand it. So I think it's just another way to look at it is like if I go and get it, like I receive it, and maybe I'll receive it from a few different people. I'll kind of research and see who's known for it, which takes us back to number one. That's why it's your responsibility to get known for something. I'm like, oh, Rebecca's really good at that. I'm going to go get it with her. Like I'm going to Austin in May, and I've already told you, put me on the books, right? So it's like, and that's kind of where we get our inspiration from. So Thai yoga, I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'd love to do this. Lomi Lomi, kind of that
But
same.
but have you ever done Lomi Fijian oil with fire cupping?
I have not, but I'm in for it. Put me down in May. I'll be there on the 18th. All
And
right,
then,
guys, I'm looking at the time. We could get it. Now we can start geeking out. We only have two left. So
yeah.
the next one, again, segue, professionalism. Professionalism is not just showing up dressed and clean, smelling good, feeling good. Like it is your hygiene, your energetic hygiene. Are you showing up exhausted? Are you late? You get pissed off because people don't show up for you or they don't cancel or they show up late or whatever it is. But you have to look in the mirror. Are you doing that? Because if you haven't set authority in your business, and they're doing that, chances are you're doing it either there or somewhere else.
So
And so it's like just recognizing professionalism. There's a whole 360 perspective around it. It is not just showing up educated and on time, looking, feeling, smelling, and even like listen to the way you talk, listen to the way you show up. Are you excited or are you complaining? Like that's all in professionalism. And for those who have been a massage therapist more than five, I think it's 6 years is the minimum, and you're kind of like needing inspiration, let's see what would fit you to become a CE provider. Like that's where I would want to start moving you in business. It's like, what's the next step for you after 5 years, 10 years? You are becoming the leader. You're becoming the educator. And that's going to reignite that fire. That's going to give you the uprise. So professionalism is, are you continuing to grow as a business owner?
there's a full-length mirror in the school that I used to substitute at Unitech in Baton Rouge. And it says, would you hire you? And I'm like, damn, I love that. But it's
Damn.
true. Like we often don't treat ourselves like our own bosses, and we have to, even if we don't want to show up, we still have to like set the stage. For example, going back a little bit on the money beliefs and stuff too and setting stage, like I'm not a numbers person. I know I probably could have reprogrammed that exact phrase, but when I do my fresh books and taxes and receipts, it's not something I exactly look forward to, but I can at least not hate it. So I'll put on my abundance frequency music. I have a cool projector that projects these awesome, like, whatever image I want to from YouTube. I light my incense, my abundance candles. I do like a little ritual. I write with the green marker. Little bitty things like that help to shift my mindset. I even have a gold $100 bill, that I'll put by my laptop. And it just at least makes me not hate what I'm doing. It puts me at ground level at least to where I'm not exacerbated when I'm doing it. And it's really important to set stage for yourself as well and or accountability. Like you need to get your taxes done, tell somebody you're going to owe them $100 if you don't get your tax. Just get your shit done. Eat the frog. Eat the frog, but like make it tasty, you know?
And to make sure that you're showing up the way you would want a massage therapist to show up for you, the way you would want the business owner to show up for you. Because I see a lot of complaining on this part. And I'm always like, where is that happening in your own life? I am not
Mhm.
gaslighting you guys, just telling you it's how it works. We're always projecting and reflecting what we need to work on. And when we can take responsibility for that in professionalism, in skill set, in education, whether you're educating someone else or you're taking responsibility for educating yourself, I think professionalism is probably one of the most important out of these five.
Yes.
Aside, well, I think they're all important, but if you want to take your business serious, you're going to have to become a serious business owner. And there's a time where you're just going to make the decision and take the action. There's a time where you need other things to come in and kind of massage that and get that moving. But, and again, it goes to show how we're all different, how many years we've been in the industry, what our experience is. And when I'm frustrated for a long period of time, I'm like, I'm going to nip that in the bud. I'm going to go change that shit in my own life, and then it's going to stop showing up in my life. And so for me, it's just like if I want something, I'm like, I map out what's going to be required. I quit being a titty baby. I take action, and then I get the results. I create a new problem, another problem. So whenever you are known for something, your belief is in check. You know why you're doing what you're doing. You have your skill set, top of your game skill set, and professional. You're in authority of your own business. You're taking responsibility for the way that you show up, for how you show up for yourself, and you're an example of what their life could be like. Then that leaves one more thing to look at, and it's a combination of all of this. It's your attitude. It's your attitude. You know, I learned this a few years ago, and I tend to, as you, Rebecca, go for the underdog. I tend to like I want to help the people who I'm like they just didn't have a shot. They just didn't understand. They just didn't know. And I was really focusing on that. I think it's because we live in Louisiana and we're surrounded by it. And if we did figure out something, we had to figure it out for ourselves. And so we're like, oh, if I would have just known, and then we start projecting that. But no, some people know and they're choosing not to because they have a sucky attitude because they're entitled, because they believe it should be easy to have a business. They believe people should just come knocking on the door because they're such a great massage therapist. Chances are, if they're not banging on your door, you got to look in the mirror. You have to get your attitude in check. You have to get your belief in check, your energetic hygiene, professionalism, skill set.
Oh God,
All of that stuff is in check, guys. You will have a new problem. The new problem is going to be how can you duplicate yourself? How can you scale this? How can you bring something in that's requiring less of you? If you don't have that problem yet, you have one of these five things missing.
yes. A perfect example of this is whenever I relocated from Louisiana to Texas. Like I was charging like $150 an hour for a massage and back home in Louisiana, which is about the average here in Texas. But anyways, you know, I won awards. I know I'm amazing. I know that my skill set is like top fucking notch. It is incredible. And when I moved here, I'm getting job offers at like $25, $30 a client. It was very humbling to have to go through the interview process, and I was more interviewing them. And then for a few months, I was working like very unhappily, begrudgingly, because I had to make my ends meet. I just moved to a new city where cost of living is literally 3 or 4 times as much as what it is in Louisiana on a budget that just literally got wiped out. So it was hard to start over, but man, was it humbling. And it made me be like, why am I trying to trade my time for dollars? I have the most badass massage routine. I cannot wait to work on you, Kim. We could totally record it if you want to, or, you know, do a little separate content one. But anyways, I was like, why am I not selling this? I watch myself work and I'm like, holy shit, my work is beautiful. I'm amazing. And I'm like literally like giving gratitude to my own self while I'm working on clients, because I'm no longer working on clients with a begrudging attitude like, oh, God damn it, I have to work on another client for $30 again. This is so below my pay rate and my ego, you know, and
Right,
it's very
right.
humbling, and it makes you prioritize what is important. And I have a waiting list of almost 500 people as we speak, waiting to get their hands on my massage routine. I'm editing the videos, making them look extremely professional. Um, Collaborating with others, keeping in mind your audience too, because not only is it's taking me a little bit of time to get what I want to get out, but it's because I'm doing it with extreme intention of keeping other people in mind of my deaf community because I want to have my classes translated into American Sign Language. That's extremely, extremely important to me. And I also want it translated into Spanish. So why do I need to keep creating 5 or 6 different products when I can just have a couple of different versions of one product and do it really, really, really well and hone in all my hyper focus? So, collaborating with other people is great. Working on I have to collaborate with others, even on my own stuff. I have to pay editors. I'm going to pay somebody to translate. I can't do this shit by myself. And when you're struggling to do it by yourself, you're not going to push your content out. It's not going to get out there. You're not going to be visible. You're not going to look professional and skilled and educated. It's going to look like you just slapped some shit together. So make sure you're doing your things with intention as well and not out of like desperation. And I see this a lot online, Kim. I'm sure you do too. Like people are just like throwing out whatever offer they had because they're like desperate for a buck in that moment, not because they planned out how they want their life to really look and feel like in the long run. And that kind of I'm that turns me off from wanting to support people too, is sensing that desperation. And our clients can feel that in us too. And we could like talk forever about this. We might have to do 5 mini episodes to break down each one in the future, but this is definitely a pretty good intro on helping massage therapists uplift and uprise. And
Where if we were speaking to the person that was in the position which many, many, many massage therapists are in, where they're doing 30 to 50, like they're just being underpaid and they're serving and they can't figure out how to get out of it because they have to make the money. They have to stay. So I think this is a great opportunity for anyone who's in that position to look at the list of 5 and decide which one to start working on first. Now we have so much opportunity for you. We both have CEs. Rebecca and I are talking about doing a live event. Matter of fact, it would be great to get some feedback from anyone who is listening to this. We want to do a live event in Austin in May where we talk about growing your business. We talk about these 5 things, how to help you do it, how to become known, your skill set, and we help you zone in on who you want to become in your business, what's the result that you want, and give you the map to getting it done. And so if you're interested in an in-person grow your business and yourself as a massage therapist without burning out, without losing your health, without losing your important relationships, if you want to know how to do that and you would come to an in-person event, let Rebecca know. Let me know. Let someone know. Because this is something we're actually been trying to organize for over a year now, keep talking about it. And I think it's a matter of if we had something to respond to, and we knew that people were waiting for this, and you're interested in what we're talking about today, and you want to know more about how you can become what Rebecca's doing right now, what I'm doing right now, and yet still be serving in the massage therapy industry, I think we can help you do that.
I know. I love this industry so much, Kim. There's not one person I talk to who is not multi-passionate, who doesn't have another skill set, who doesn't have another thing that ties in, their
I
passions and
love.
goals. And it's amazing seeing people thrive. And also like this industry, it is a little bit seasonal. So we have to like learn how to work around that as well. Because every year people freak out at the exact same times. And it's like a cycle. We need to have a healthy baseline year round and not I mean business is always going to fluctuate. I know my life has been a fucking roller coaster with tons of loops and corkscrew turns and stuff, but you can
Well,
have a
I,
baseline and
I
grow
think
with
it's
that.
also taking like increasing your financial IQ, like really
Oh, yes.
understanding how to regulate. So I don't believe in like balance. I believe that we're always kind of like juggling and stabilizing and we're going here.
Balancing.
So there's I just don't know that we stated that there is a certain balance to attain. I think it's the ability to pivot with like an educated understanding, meaning you have data, you know what your year looks like. When I start working with massage therapists and I ask them how much money they earn, they don't know. What they know is I got to make 300 more this week to pay my car note. I have to do this to pay the rent. I have to. And so once I'm working with them, and if I had one of them and I was interviewing right now, they would tell you exactly what they made last year, what they did this month, and where they are this month and where they've made so far this year. Because we've trained them to collect that data. Because when you have that data, you are in control. You become empowered
All
and you're
massage
in
math.
authority.
It's
What's
called
that?
massage math. Is like it cost me 2.5 clients to go to my last concert.
Yeah, yeah. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. I remember when I first started in business, I was like, if I make 200 a year, 200 a week, I will be great. I like that was it, 200 a week. And then it eventually got to 2000 a month. By that time, I had enlarged the shop. I was doing other services. Now, this is back in the 90s, guys. And then I got to a point where I remember when I started coaching and I said, if all I earn is 250,000 a year, and I mapped out exactly how many clients and how much they were going to pay me, that was it. And then before I knew it, it's a $2 million goal. And then it's like it just, we are always growing, but you'll know what you're doing by the results that you're bringing in. If you are providing service to the world, I guarantee you, you will be financially benefiting. If you're not financially benefiting, you have to look at what's missing. It's not you. It's not you. You're limitless just like the rest of us. It is not you. There's something you don't know or don't understand yet. So if you've been listening to a lot of online gurus and social media, you should do this and you should do that. If you continue to listen to that and you have it all in your head, but you don't have the results, you're trying to solve the wrong problem and you're over consuming without implementation. And once you understand how to do that, guys, I love to teach in a cognitive style, meaning I don't just give you words and formulas. I actually teach you how it applies to your business, to yourself, to your goals and desires. Some people are fine making 50,000 a year. I was that person. I had 5 kids. I have 12 grandkids. My husband worked shift work. There was a time where that was fine. And that's okay. Don't let anyone beat you up about that or think that you should be making hundreds of thousands or millions. Some people just want to help other people and they're not in it for the money at all. That's contribution. Not a problem with that either. But who we're talking about is the legacy leader massage therapist who truly wants to create generational change, who wants to impact humanity, who wants to grow and prosper and doesn't mind investing in themselves. That's who we're talking to. So you get to decide. Like that's my brand, right? That's how I'm known. I believe if God planted a seed inside of us to come here and contribute, and we can't put that fire out, I believe we're supported, but we got to get clear, confident, and competent. And it requires all 5 of those things. That is
And
my soapbox for today.
yes, and we have to remember those seeds germinate at different times in different
A
seasons,
100%. Yeah,
different
we know how
environments.
long it takes to grow a carrot, but we don't know how long it takes to optimize a dream.
Right. And that can keep people on the hamster wheel. So having somebody to talk to, like you, having accountability, having, like if you're me, like having, if you're like me, having visuals and having like AI assistance helps me out so much, organize my brain and not feel like I'm overwhelmed because I'll leave our listeners with this too, kind of wrapping up everything as far as uprising and operating at your, capacity. Like I have a silent illness and sometimes I have A days where I'm like 75% to 100% buffer, right? Like I'm charged. And I'm able to do stuff like walk 3 miles with my dog around the neighborhood. On a B day, I might only have enough energy and mental capacity to kick the soccer ball in my backyard for a few minutes. On an A day, I can meal prep, I can garden. On a B day, I'm gonna have to take something out the freezer or I'm gonna have to like get food delivered to my house. So honoring and recognizing like if you're having an A day or a B day and being compassionate with yourself to where you could still get some stuff done, but it's not so black and white, hardcore, like I have to do this. Like give yourself a little bit of grace and compassion because that helped reset my nervous system a lot is recognizing if I'm operating on an A day or B day and honoring that and not pushing myself outside of those boundaries. So that has
The
helped me a ton as well. Then I have mental capacity to do some better work on my neuroplasticity and mindset and everything because my brain's not full of a bunch of other
yeah.
shit that I don't need to be doing or
Yeah,
focusing
we didn't talk
on.
much about that, but you absolutely have to get out of survival first. We
Yeah.
have to regulate the nervous system. And the only way you can help them is if yours is regulated. So we didn't even talk about that because I had the assumption that everyone already knows that. But you're right. Sometimes we can't see
Yeah,
that that's there.
let yeah, let's wrap up the episode with you telling people a little bit more about like mind body and kind of what that is. what it's all about, like regulating your nervous system. Not only can it help us as therapists and practitioners, but our clients too, working with them. So I'd
Mm.
love to let them know a little bit about the magic that you do.
Yeah, it's funny we skipped over that because I think it is the number one thing, number one thing, number one thing. Like it's actually everything. Because when your nervous system is dysregulated, you can't even see where the resistance of change. You can't because you're in protection mode. And so everything is a risk. Everything is a concern or work. And so understanding that healing starts with nervous system regulation, including just the physical symptoms. This is not, we're not just talking about our neurology. I mean, we are talking about our neurology in general. So it's the mind, like really understanding your mind's job. It's like tag teaming with your brain, your survival brain. Your brain's like, I'm going to die. And then the mind goes find evidence of how that's true until you train it otherwise. But the only way you can train it otherwise is to regulate the nervous system, prove to the brain that you're not in danger, and then you start finding other evidence. So instead of looking, this is what I see with massage therapists. They look at all of the evidence of how it's not going well, there's no money, people are canceling, it's not good. And then they, to the degree that you agree, they attract more people who believe that, and now they're stuck in a sinkhole. And so it's actually being able to manage, control your environment, what you're listening to. Not a whole lot different than turning off the TV. If you want to like turn off the news, you also want to turn off social media negativity in your industry. So if someone is saying it's not possible or they're kind of ranting about stories that are not working in the massage therapy industry, it is your job to turn that off and then to come and find someone who is succeeding, someone who is doing well. I think of it as railroad tracks. And so you're going down the railroad tracks. And then, like with Rebecca and I right now, we're both a side of the track. So we're keeping you in tune. We're keeping you in tune. Like, we're like, yeah, don't get out the tracks. But then your habit brain, which loves to solve problems and has been in distress most of your life, jumps off at station number two and goes find a problem to solve. It's just the mechanism. But if you don't understand that, then you're going to get tripped up by it. Well, that's what I teach as a mind body coach. I teach where the physical manifestations come from, why people keep quitting on themselves, why their relationships are severed, how to bring it all together by truly understanding your human nature. That's how I can sum it up the best is when you really understand the power of the most powerful organ in your body, which is your brain, and you know how to control and manage it and tell it what you want instead of it telling you what it's going to do. That's where all the power is. And so when your nervous system is regulated, you have the ability to feel emotion and not react to it. And that's where the power is. When you are regulated and you know what to do with an emotion, you know what bucket or box to put it in, you know how to label it, you know how to process it. No one will stop you guys. No one will stop you.
Responding over
That's,
reacting is such a
yeah.
it's a skill set that takes a lot of practicing. It's definitely another muscle to flex for sure. And
Just have to understand it though. It's like we hear a lot of things on social media, but we don't truly understand it in an experiential way. And so then we like that's the part that is so painful for me, like wanting to like, God, if I could just get you in a room and just give you an experience, like I promise you, you will see things differently. But that requires investment and trust and time. And it's just, I mean, we've been fucked around a lot and it's hard to trust someone you don't know. You know, that's what we're up against right now. So I'm sorry they hurt you. We're here to do good. We would love to help you. And if you are willing to trust again, to try again, it's just like a relationship, sour relationships, you know, or bitter clients. It's like you really have to trust that someone has your best interest at heart and give it a shot. That's why we do things from free to $10 to $97 all the way up to $20,000. You know, it's you start with just come to a free event and up, you know,
listen
buy
to the
VIP,
podcast.
which is 97. Listen to the podcast. Start there. And then when you start seeing the results, that's going to give you that safety that you're looking for in the nervous system. I got to hop out of here.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Kim. I appreciate you. And we will talk soon. Happy late Mardi Gras to you.
Yes, that happens 5 minutes from my house. I am so glad it's over.
I'm glad I'm
All
in
right,
touch.
guys. I hope to connect with you online or see you at one of our events.
Thank you, Kim. We'll put
Thank
everything in
you.
the comments below, in the notes, episode description. I need coffee. Goodbye.
Bye.